This is the first part of a two-part presentation describing the nuclear threat that Iran poses to the world. It describes the various facilities that Iran has for enriching uranium and converting that uranium into metallic enriched uranium-235 to produce a nuclear weapon. It also describes the results following the Midnight Hammer operation, in which B-2 bombers dropped numerous massive ordnance penetrator weapons on these facilities. Part 2 is a separate technical presentation describing the types, possible yields, and number of weapons Iran could produce with their stated stockpile of enriched uranium. There are 3 critical nuclear weapon development sites in Iran: Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Fordo and Natanz are enrichment sites. They each have deeply buried cascades of centrifuges to enrich uranium hexafluoride. Their current enrichment is stated at 60% highly enriched uranium or 60% HEU. This means that their uranium hexafluoride contains 60% uranium-235, which is the fissionable isotope of uranium. This amount is well above any peaceful use of enriched uranium. Peaceful use of uranium for power generation and research uses only 5% HEUU. It is possible to create nuclear weapons with 60% HEU. Isfahan is apparently the site to extract metallic 235U from the uranium hexafluoride and machine it into the necessary shape for its application, presumably a nuclear weapon. Here is the Fordo enrichment facility. Note the tunnel entrances and the location of the deeply buried centrifuges. It is stated they are buried 300 feet below the mountain. A few days before the U.S. B-2 bombers strike on the facility, numerous trucks are seen on the road leading to the tunnel entrances. Iran claims they moved their 60% highly enriched uranium to other secret sites. This image seems to confirm that. However, there are no public confirmations of that. Other non-confirmed statements indicate they are dump trucks and concrete trucks sealing the tunnel entrances. After the trucks left, 6 B-2 bombers dropped 12 massive ordnance penetrator bombs on the site above the location of the enrichment centrifuges. Note the 6 holes. 2 penetrators were dropped on each hole to reach beyond the 200-foot depth to destroy the centrifuges. Contrary to congressional leaks reported by CNN, the Pentagon confirms that the site is totally destroyed. Note, I have over 30 years' experience performing research on nuclear weapons effects. I have both a DoD top-secret clearance and a DOE Q clearance, their top-secret clearance. Anytime Congress was given classified information on my projects, they were always leaked. The only way to prevent leaks is to inform Congress after the fact. The War Powers Act of 1973 allows this. A7th B-2 dropped 2 penetrators on the Natanz enrichment facility to destroy those buried centrifuges. Here are before and after attack satellite images of the Natanz enrichment facility. Again, it is assumed that the facility at Isfahan extracts metallic HEU from the uranium hexafluoride gas enriched at Fordo and Natanz. It is also assumed that Isfahan machines the metallic HEU into the designed application, presumably a nuclear weapon. 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles were fired from an Ohio-class guided missile nuclear submarine and targeted the Isfahan facility. Here are before and after attack satellite images of this facility. Even if Iran was able to move the 60% enriched uranium hexafluoride, They would have no way to extract metallic 60% HEU, nor an industrial facility to machine it into a weapon design. Even their military bases have been destroyed. They have no way to produce a nuclear weapon at this time. If they restore the processing and machining capability at some future date, and if they indeed save the 60% HEU uranium hexafluoride, then a nuclear weapon of significant yield can be built with 60% HEU. See my Part 2 video of this presentation series. There is significant debate on how long Iran will take to reconstruct their nuclear weapon development capability. Since they refuse to allow international investigators and they have a history of never telling the truth, it is hard to know. The following section presents the repair and reconstruction of Iran's efforts to rebuild their nuclear facilities. Some of the reconstruction began almost immediately after Midnight Hammer in June 2025. In less than a year, Iran has conducted significant reconstruction and repair efforts at its 3 nuclear sites. This first image shows significant earth-moving efforts at the Fordow enrichment site. The light areas indicate huge, fresh earth-moving activity. This image was taken only a few weeks after Midnight Hammer. The next 2 images are satellite images of the Natanz enrichment site. The first image shows the site following Midnight Hammer. Notice the damage to 3 above-ground facilities. The second image shows recent repairs to one of the above-ground structures. The next image shows a covering over repairs at one building on the Isfahan complex. The expanding inset shows backfilling of old tunnel entrances. Backfilling the tunnel entrances would help dampen any potential airstrike and also make ground access difficult in a special forces raid to seize or destroy any highly enriched uranium that may be housed inside. Iran could have moved sensitive materials into the tunnels to help protect them. Of course, this would not protect against another MOPS attack by B-2 bombers. Clearly, Iran has no intention of giving up their nuclear weapons program. The United States has assembled a huge armada in the region if negotiations fail, which is almost a certainty. This is a difficult turning point for the U.S. and the world. A limited strike might cause Iran to capitulate. However, it might also lead to a significant escalation. The stakes are high with a strike or if we do nothing. I encourage you to view my Part 2 of this series so you can understand the magnitude and number of possible Iranian nuclear weapons using only 60% of highly enriched uranium. The media and even government officials, who should know better, have led the world to believe that a nuclear weapon is only possible with 90% highly enriched uranium. Remember, Little Boy was constructed using only 80% HEU. Unfortunately, we have entered an era of precision weapons. This has led the world to believe we can have a just war with little collateral damage to civilians. This is the reason that wars today never reach the ultimate goal of changing the mindset of the other side, as in World War II, Germany and Japan are now peaceful and strong allies of the West. To achieve that, we had to bring them to their knees, where they could no longer threaten the world. This scenario is very hard to conceive today because of the world's nuclear arsenals and the various coalitions against the West. Nobody wants World War III.